Fortnite Chapter 4 has the most important storyline out of any other, which finally puts together the origin of how exactly the entire storyline began. But this chapter's focus is not really mainly on the characters, but instead, just like Chapter 1, yet again the focus is on the map itself. And this map confirmed has been created by chunks of many other realities. At first, only 3 realities. First one, the medieval and modern grass biomes. We don't really have a confirmation on the name of this reality nor its reality number, but we do know that it is ruled over by the Oathbound Kingdom, and the king of it being Ageless, aka a snapshot of Geno. We also actually know that the grass biome and the knighted ones are actually from the same reality. One of the supporting reasons for this being how in the trailer you can see that the grass of the medieval biome was actually green at first, but then the grass of it died, turning yellow. Even in the game you can see how the grass colors are naturally shifting into each other. But then if you go check the mega city biome, the grass color does not really leak into the green one, they're completely separate. Then there's how the most common trees in the grass and fall biomes are exactly the same, just different colors. While mega, frozen reality or even the jungle have completely different trees as their most common ones. Then there's how the Knighted season, the first ever one in Fortnite Season 2. There were no castles or any building having a similar design to these. Instead we had farms, modern buildings and places looking just like the ones in the grass biome right now. The Chapter 1 map at the beginning should have mainly been made out of Geno's reality too. And while all the other biomes have a kingdom or even they got one of those boner tower things last season, the grass one got absolutely nothing. There is much more proof about these two biomes being from the same reality, but if I want to explain all of those, it would take a whole day, so hell nah, I'm too lazy for that. This reality also has a statue of Geno, or is a snapshot Ageless, in it, and it is extremely inspired by the medieval history and mythology with dragons and more. This one also, we don't know its name nor its reality number, but there is way too much showing us how this should be where Origin, Cube Queen or some other characters, possibly even a Stellan, are from. A reality filled with scientists who took Kinetic ore and created impressive technology out of it. But the interesting thing is that this science or whatever you see here happened thousands or even millions of years ago. So far in the past, to the point that Dr. Stone actually legit completely gave up trying to find out how old this technology and all of them are. Everything in this jungle is extremely old because in a far past, the people of this place abandoned it. To me, that's because they created their new home, aka the Cube Cradle, so they can travel into different realities with it, beginning the last reality. So why would they need to stay in here anymore? Well, there's only one person out of all of them that has stayed, and that one is Relic, but he doesn't really tell us anything about this place. The king of this reality in the past should have been Origin himself, and when he quit the last reality, this ruler status should have been transformed into Cube Queen herself. This reality, as I have proven before, is the exact same one as Season 8's Volcano, Pirates and Temple, which we know how the Chapter 3 map is the Chapter 1 rebuilt after the black hole happened. And so because of the black hole, the colors of the temples were washed off, looking just like the temples right now, stony and grey. This reality also has a statue like the other, but this time I think it represents the nothing. If you want more information on how that statue is the nothing and how the people of this jungle are the beginning of last reality, you need to watch all the videos I have made in this season. Now, the final of the first 3 realities. The icy biome, confirmed to be from a frozen reality, being brought here by Paradigm herself, which there is even a full set of a skin being made right now for the next season, codenamed Frozen Reality, showing me how this biome is finally gonna play a part in next season's story. And this also supports the reverse Chapter 1 theory even more, since Season 1 would be X, Season 2 would be the futuristic Zone 9. This season, same as 8, the jungle and temples. So finally finally, Season 4, the next one, would be the same as Season 7 in Chapter 1, where exactly the Ice King and Polar Peak happened. Which, if so, the frozen reality could very well be a skin of King of this reality, aka the Ice King himself. This frozen reality has two different sides, just like the Geno one. It has a Night Kingdom part and a research part with like buff Santa and like some other people in it. This frozen super interesting part in the map right now is for a group called the Reality Warriors. These Reality Warriors are currently missing, almost like a group called the Seven, because the Reality Warriors are the Seven. This is their base in the frozen realm, exactly why Paradigm went here in Season 4. This base yet again has a statue, making up 3 statues so far, which I just said that one of those was Geno and the other probably nothing. And finally, this one seems to be the everything goddess, the opposite of nothing. And if you somehow still don't trust me with how Singularity has always been the everything goddess, how does a nothing refer to itself? He says we. Why did that sound French? My man legit talks like Venom. Guess what? Singularity also does the exact same thing. In Season 9, Donna Mustard made his status we are Singularity. Yeah, the two opposite gods, everything and nothing, refer to themselves as we, while no one else in the story does so. And if that's not enough, let's talk Renzo. Renzo is a black hole as a man. A black hole which got called Creation and Creator by Mystica. At first we all were really confused about this, like a black hole being Creation and Creator. How does that make sense? Well, it makes sense the same way that the Season X black hole is the same thing too. That one took our reality and reforged and recreated it, so a creator. While there have been many times confirmations of connections between Singularity and black holes, exactly, Renzo the black hole being called Creation and Creator is because his powers are mostly connected to the Creation and Creator god herself. This frozen reality 100% should be also where the Ice King is from, him being its frozen king, and as stated in the comics, the Ice One in the past was brought here from this reality into Reality Zero 2, because Ice King looked at Reality Zero as the safest place to hide his powerful collection. The fact that he knew of this reality and how it is meant to be lonely and safe shows how my man has actually experienced with this place, proving my point about big connections between Reality Zero and these 5 realities even more. But not only the frozen ice moon chunk in Chapter 1 is from this reality, the Vikings in Chapter 1 should also be from this place. They had a huge connection to ice and snow and much more hinting to it. And this will get fully confirmed if we see Viking skins in the next season. Now that we know a lot about the first 3 realities, the question is, then why did we only get 3 of them at the beginning of Chapter 4? Forging into each other by Paradigm creating the Chapter 4 island. Why is the Mega Reality and Desert being brought here through external ways like the Rift Gate and so on? That's because these 3 realities have something that the other 2 seem not to have. Something that has made them even more important and special. To understand this, I need to introduce you to the Triarchy. The Triarchy of Darkness, Light and Afterlife, Nothing, Everything and a Spirit. These together had 3 rulers who used to manage the Omniverse together. But then this piece of the Triarchy was broken into a civil war because some members wanted to alter how the Omniverse is, while the other hated this idea and wanted to keep the natural order of the Omniverse, beginning the War of Fortnite, which the 0 point actually contains all 3 of their energies. The purple energy on the bottom, or darkness, being the last one because it is meant to symbolize the underworld. Middle being the blue creation energy because it is meant to represent our mortal lives right after being born and before death. While finally the top one being golden, aka the spirit energy, being on the top because it represents the afterlife and going into the skies after your soul is freed. Each of these rulers also have their own realm. And remember, realities and realms, these are completely different different things, they're not the same. So there are 3 realms. One is the nothing and darkness realm. The other one is this thing we have seen many times, the everything realm. And finally the spirit realm, realm of the afterlife and souls, where we can see the future by connecting to it. Now these 3 Triarch rulers are exactly why 3 of the 5 realities are more important than the other 2. To show you how, I want to bring up how the Ice King is a protector of realities. He takes away dangerous weapons and monsters which threaten realities to destruction. He hates the idea of realities being altered and likes natural order. Almost like who? Exactly, the creator herself, everything. While his enemy Prisoner, who can control fire, the opposite of ice. Prisoner is very much into the idea of altering realities to his liking, changing them. Sounds like who? Sounds like the nothing to me. As said in season 1,
he always said he imagined a world of perfect order.
No, that is not the nothing realm. That's a realm, not a reality. It is not a world. So the name of the last reality does not really mean only the nothing realm remains. Cause again, where the nothing comes from is not a reality, it's a realm. The name of the last reality is pointing out how the nothing wants to keep one reality once he's done destroying all the other ones. And that single reality will be the only one to ever exist. That should be because the nothing has learned how in order to reach a world of perfect order, the only choice left is for there to be only one single reality of perfection. More than one reality causes chaos and mess, breaking the perfection. So yeah, Prisoner wanting to alter realities is exactly what the nothing wants to. And like, which reality is the Prisoner from? The jungle, home of the fire people. You might keep ignoring the fact that these are the fire people, but it's the truth. This is exactly why I came up with the theory of Origin being the first Fire King in the past, since he should be the original king of the jungle and the fire people. Now, like, why is the Prisoner not the Fire King instead if so? Well, because it was proven to be a knight of the Ice King in the past. After that moment, the original Fire King left his status and his home, because again, the jungle people abandoned this place, therefore not being the fire jungle beings anymore, but now the darkness followers. Because of that, the balance was broken, the balance of ice and fire living together. The king of fires has now become the king of cubes. Because of that, as the Prisoner's description says, he came to restore balance. But what balance? Well, that's the balance of ice and fire king's powers cancelling each other, creating the balance itself. The fire king is missing, the balance is broken, and the ice king is on top. So in season 8, once the Prisoner got freed, he must have felt this problem, the emptiness of a fire king. Therefore, him being one of the last non-corrupted jungle people with an eternal flame inside of him became the new king of fire, restoring the balance with this. But now that he also seems to be taken away as well, balance is once more broken. So the Prisoner either returns to his rule again, or if not, Origin, when freed from the nothing's cube corruption, will take his throne back as the fire boy. Now that I have explained how the Ice King, ruler of the frozen reality, has a similar mindset to the everything, while Prisoner and knight and now ruler of this jungle has a similar mindset to the nothing, and most importantly, the frozen reality having a statue of everything and the jungle reality having a statue of the nothing. Yeah, these 2 realities out of the 5 were chosen by the 2 godly rulers, because the nothing wanted to abuse the jungle people's mindset to his advantage, while the everything abused the frozen reality people's heroic and natural order mindset to her advantage. The chosen realities for 2 of the gods, leaving only one of the gods left and one out of the 3 realities, a reality of the Oathbound, where instead of everything and nothing, this time the statue is towards Geno himself, not any spirit god or anything. But the thing is, Mega City does not seem to have any statues, so this thing things also seem to be exclusive to the 3 of the realities out of the 5, and the only explanation to that would be 1. The ruler of the spirits is missing, or 2. Geno himself has something to do with this. Saying that, I also want to bring up how Geno's powers are colored golden. Exactly, the energy of the spirit. This pretty much should be the chosen reality of the spirit ruler or something related to that. And if this spirit ruler has connections to Geno, well, actually I have a huge theory on that one, which I'm gonna explain in another video, so subscribe not to miss it. There you go, that's exactly what makes these 3 realities out of the 5 come together first. It's because each of these are chosen by one of the Triarch gods. So now that we know why only these 3 realities came together at first, and then we got Mega Reality and soon the desert, let's go through the final 2 realities. First one being the mega Japanese culture and mythology inspired reality. A reality which was brought here with a rift gate blowing up, creating a permanent rift like the one in season 5. Then through this rift, a puppet of the nothing along with one of the last reality members and chunks of the mega reality arrived. The ruler of this reality is an empress called Mizuki, Empress of the River Guard Empire. It's really interesting to me how this reality has an empire while the other 3 have kingdoms. Maybe the kingdoms are also exclusive to the 3 more important chosen realities. And so I predict that the final reality, the desert one, will also have an empire just like Mega. This reality has a cultural part and a futuristic one exactly like the other 3. The frozen reality also has a historic focus part, while also a more advanced modern research center part. Then Geno's reality, as I have said, has a historic knighted part and a modern one. Desert one also has the colossal Colosseum, which should be the historic site, while the places like the one in chapter 3 map should be the more modern parts. There is even a statue of a peely Roman thingy in the jungle right now, taken from Colossal, teasing the desert being brought into the islands really soon too. Then the final one, the jungle reality. This one doesn't really have a modern, advanced or any futuristic sides unlike the other 4, because as I have said, the people of this jungle abandoned it so long ago to the point the stone just gave up trying to figure out how long. So they did advance, but in the skies. The reason why these realities have a historic and then a more advanced sides is because the normal people of them kept evolving over the years like we do in real life. But the more important sides of these realities, like their rulers, they have already been perfected ages ago and chosen to be given a power for controlling their reality. So sticking to how their cultures used to be forever. Those people and their history is why Fortnite loves to bring up ancient texts and items like all the time. They're all connected to when the story began and the Fortnite loop. Their history is the answer we need for everything. Exactly what the era skin is made around. Some historic things related to the frozen reality were then claimed by a Yo and put into their war meeting room, probably taken by the remains of the Ice Moon chunk. Between these historic items we can see the statue of the female person who I think is the everything, and this really important map. Same or a similar one to a map which we can see in the frozen reality right now. This map as said by Batman shows the stars overlapping, but the foundation tells Batman that realities rarely if ever intersect. If the realities are not meant to intersect and don't, then why are the stars on the map overlapping? Unless, as Foundation says, only some rarely do. And those rarely to me being the 5 realities, and yet another reason making them really important in the Fortnite story. More important than all the other billions of realities. These 5 realities should be overlapping with Reality Zero itself, shown even by the reality tree shifting locations in season 3 chapter 3 per match. The reality tree made locations in the map change between 5 different types. A pirate one being the jungle reality, Colossal being desert, a futuristic one which should be the mega reality. We saw how the Cuddle team leader was taken into a futuristic reality looking really similar to Neo Tilted itself. and she built herself an advanced suit in there, a reality which she got a Japanese film music pack with it, and her entire trailer for the skin was in Japanese too. Just like which reality? Yeah, Mega. And if so, this reality has many pictures of alien related things in it and Joey, making me think that these aliens are the aliens of Mega reality, and their Proxerian world could be a world in this reality, and aliens along with their ruler Taken joining the last reality, helping the Cube Queen, which we also know how Herald herself was from the Proxerian world too, and she had a throne in season 4 chapter 3, along with a hexagon on the throne which the shape of last reality's logo is made out of. I'm actually starting to think that Herald is the queen of aliens, and she accepted to join the last reality, so making her alien army come with her too. I mean, think about it, she's the Chrome user while the general of the aliens also uses Chrome. Like, just this makes so much sense to me. Now the third one was a western, which to me should be from Geno's realities or maybe the desert again. Then finally the last one left, Coral Castle themed. The final reality also left, which does not have a connection to any of these, is the frozen reality. So this is only one of the reasons why I've been starting to think that the underwater Atlantic world might be from the frozen reality. But there is a chance that I'm wrong and these ships and everything are focused on only 3 of the 5 realities again. And those 3 being the jungle, desert and the mega. Therefore making the western maybe like coastal be from the desert too. And this Atlantic part being from the jungle. The fishes are yet again really important in this season's story, so like who knows. But now back to the mega reality. This reality has no statues of any important characters unlike the other 3, making me think that again those 3 statues in the realities have a really important meaning that the other 2 realities don't have them. And this one exactly has 5 syndicates, just like the 5 knights in the Ice King's room, and even the 5 realities. Coincidence? I think not! The syndicates are Peace, Unseen, Luminaries, Fox Clan and the River Guard. Luminaries being the ones who their explorer side have fully taken over the jungle, building their research labs and more, exploring what's going on with the revealed jungle, and Sloan has joined their side currently as their expert to use them for her own mission. The part which this reality is connected to in chapter 1 should be Lucky Landing. Yes, I know that is a Chinese location, but first of all, these are not actual Chinese or Japanese places. These are inspired by those countries' culture. There are still fictional realities and everything, alien worlds, not the actual Japan in our real life. Why the mega reality side in chapter 1 was Chinese and not Japanese is because realities are made out of a multiverse with many universes within it. A universe in mega reality is Japanese mythology inspired, while another universe in the reality is Chinese inspired. And it's the exact same thing for all the realities, especially the 5. A universe in the jungle is Aztec mythology inspired, while another universe, the one in chapter 4 map, is Mayan mythology inspired. Or even the desert, one of the universes is Greek and another one Roman. Maybe even one Egypt universe if they want to bring that mythology into. Fortnite basically is putting mythologies which are similar as universes in the same realities. It's either this or another choice is that they're all part of one planet, just different places of it. But to me, Fortnite will use the multiple universes of realities. Now that we know 4 of the 5 realities in chapter 4 having connections to part of the chapter 5 map, Mega Reality, Jungle, Oathbound and finally Frozen. One more remains and that one should be the desert, which we very much had one in chapter 1 too. And that desert's design was changed when the black hole happened into this instead. Because again, the chapter 3 map is the chapter 1 map. And so the desert you see in chapter 3 should be the same one as chapter 1. The design of the realities was also changed by the black hole. Oh wait, actually saying that, if the design of the desert reality was changed from this into this, and the jungle temples from shiny colorful into stone ruins, then Lucky Landings and new tilted realities through the black hole could have changed into the mega and whatever that looks. Based on that, now you see how the 5 realities have always been with us. Most of the Fortnite islands have always been made out of the 5 reality pieces, mainly Geno's reality. And this is something that Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and most importantly, Chapter 4, they all share together. The vault in Chapter 1, the first time the 5 realities came together. This one also having 5 pieces and keys to unlock itself, each going into one of the 5 biomes related to the 5 realities, but one key being really unique. This one key turned into 3 pieces, one going into the volcano, the other frozen reality, and lastly to Geno's normal grass biome reality. That's right, exactly the 3 realities which came together in the beginning of Chapter 4, Jungle, Off-Found, and Frozen, which I just showed you how they should be the 3 chosen realities by the Triarchy gods. And so what is this key doing? It's turning into 3 in these 3 exact realities, and we had to connect the energies of the 3 pieces and realities together for unlocking the key. To me, showing the peace between the 3 gods, and sadly that was broken. So this vault and the 5 keys were connected to the 5 realities, and we know how the inside of the vault was our first version of the bridge, at that moment controlled by the singularity or everything goddess. Now in the second bridge one created by the IO after the black hole, this one also has 5 pieces shown in the picture posted by Donald Mustard. 5 pieces which to me I feel like are directly connected to each of the 5 realities. Even going back to the Batman comics again, there was a historic artifact related to the history of the island looking really similar to the ones found in the current season, and Dr. Stone told us how those artifacts are the answer to everything, so this one should be too. This is showing the history of the loop and the island. The 2 beings on the bottom being called godlike by Batman. Godlike because they are gods. Those gods being everything and nothing, creating the loop together. The loop was not made by IO but taken over and abused by them. The 2 gods everything and nothing each other got their own sides in the island, exactly why the flip side exists. Why the island is 2-sided split, and these 2 sides, bottom being called purple in the story videos and night, while top blue and daytime. We know how Fortnite loves to call darkness and nothing night, while darkness energy is also purple, and we also know how everything is shown by Epic always as the sunrise and the daytime, while blue is the creation energy too. Yes, this island was half controlled by the everything and half controlled by the nothing in the beginning of Fortnite Storyline. Just like the 0 point itself, 0 point is also a fusion of everything and nothing. Like if you look at the island from outside, it also looks like a 0 point having something inside of it. And so if the spirit is also part of this, why am I not bringing that one into like the 2 halves? Well, that's because the spirit is the afterlife and the soul and everything, which is also part of the creation, and also this one is extremely confusing and complicated. So because it is really complicated, I would need to make a whole its own video for this one. Subscribe if you want to see that in the future. Back to the stones, this also shows a circle in the middle, which should be the 0 point or the reality 0 pointed out by Batman. While they call these things connected to the circles portals, bringing people into the island. Those people brought here by the godlike beings on the stone. And Fish's Stick also says how they could be from the walls these portals are connected to. The walls these portals are connected to means that each of the 5 portals are focused on only one reality. These 5 do not shift between any other reality. Each is only focused in one. So exactly 5 realities. Which Fish Stick is right, most of the Fortnite Storyline characters are from these realities. And if not, they're either from like a collaboration reality or one of the billions. This entire world and the island was made to experiment on the 5 realities. The nothing hates the Vic. He hates all of us and thinks that we suck. He has shown us in the Bites quest how the Nothing only cares about the most strongest and the most perfect beings. If you're not, he will just kill you like you're nothing. I swear that was not an intentional pun, no! So he must have forced the everything to together turn creation perfect using a loop and an island. Then choosing 5 realities out of the billion to bring their people into the island and begin the experiment on turning them into much perfect creations, way better than they used to be. Exactly why the people of these 5 realities have powers, especially their rulers. They have been evolved by the looper and the 2 gods. One of their people, the one who performs the best in the loop, being chosen to gain the most power, becoming the ruler of their reality. Think about it, for the Imagine Order to find the island and take over it, or the Ice King to know of it and all and how it is a safe place. Geno and the others should have first been brought into this island and take over it after. Like again, just like how the Ice King said, this is meant to be the safest reality out of all of them. So basically it's supposed to be lonely, no one is meant to know of it, like at all. If so, the only way for the Imagine Order to find this place is if they were brought here before it. So the everything and nothing brought the people of Imagine Order here and then they created that group. Now something really important, 2 more things common between all of these 5 realities. 1, they all contain kinetic ore and it has been confirmed how there is many different versions of kinetic ore. The most powerful and important one being the refined kinetic ore, which based on what Stellan has told us and Amy, this refined kinetic ore should have been the evolved version of the kinetic ore, evolving once the chunks formed the island. A kinetic ore so powerful they have never seen anything like it before. But the normal version of the kinetic ore that these 5 realities own, they created their own technology and weapons out of it. Weapons which we have seen some of them in every single one of the 5 in chapter 4. The Oathbound ones, the Mega ones, and lastly the Jungle one. 2 more kinetic ore weapons are left to finish the 5. These 2, one will be from the Frozen reality, which I predict it will come in the next season. And lastly, the kinetic weapon connected to the desert, where we will probably see it in the last season of chapter 4, so season 5. Each of the 5 realities are also inspired by a mythology or a legend in our world. Geno's reality is inspired by medieval knights and dragons or legends mythology. Frozen reality is inspired by Vikings legends and Norse mythology. The Jungle reality is inspired by 2 mythologies and legends. This side of it, the more colorful one by Aztec mythology, and the other side in chapter 4 map more inspired by the Mayan mythology. Thanks to everyone on Twitter, Alps and Tater for helping me figure this one out. The desert reality is yet again inspired by 2 real life mythologies, one being the Roman myth and the other Greek. The Mega reality is inspired by 2 mythologies as well, the side we saw in chapter 1, the Chinese mythology, and the side currently in the map is the Japanese mythology inspired. Another common connection between all the 5 realities is how they have mentions of the Triarchy and triangles in many different ways. You can see the ones of Oathbound in this picture and the ones of the jungle in this one being the 3 heads and exactly 3 ruins, like exactly. The desert is not here yet, so we have to wait to see that one. Then for the Frozen reality, it's these 3 statues pointing right into the middle circle, reminding me of that key in season 8, and exactly 3 weird holy god places that are named. Finally, the Mega reality filled with 3s, exactly 3 lighthouses and 3 sanctuaries and more. Sanctuaries, which one is for the burning amber and one for cold water, and lastly wind. Burning amber and cold water actually being the skin styles for Mizuki, Empress of the Mega reality, while wind being the sanctuary building completely different than the other 2. This one also isn't a Mizuki style, but like if you think about it, the wind is needed for the flow of tides and Mizuki can control the tides. So these 3 sanctuaries can be connected to the 3 important powers shared between the river guards. It's really interesting to me how much 3 related things is in every single reality in the map right now, all pointing out to me the Triarchy itself, and them having a role in every single one of the 5. But talking about this Triarch, once the war between them began, Geno, who's a champion, probably a champion of the first person who ever got a victory royale leaving the loop, he took advantage of the moment and Geno created the Imagine Order, taking over the island for his own works. Sadly, Geno taking over imagines the exact same thing which nothing has to. Geno imagines a perfect order, exactly what the shapeless man or the nothing wants to. The difference being that Geno wants to turn every single reality perfect and protect them, while the nothing only wants a world, one single reality to be perfect and no more. Again, exactly why the last reality is called the last reality. That single reality being these 5 important realities being forged into one single reality, while nothing destroys every single one of the other billion ones. Again, it is proven how the nothing only wants one reality to remain because of the last reality, or a world of perfect order, and that one reality will remain once the nothing's work is finished. And I need to say this again, the nothing realm does not count as a reality. Nothing realm is a realm, and realms are shared between all realities. Reality is a world and it is completely different than a realm. The last reality is all 5 realities coming together to create the perfect order. Why these 5 create the perfect order is because, as I said, the people of these realities were brought into the island to loop and become perfect. So they have already become perfect and they already are what the nothing wants. So once the 5 realities became perfect should be exactly when the nothing imagines a world of perfect order, breaking the peace with everything, beginning the war with her so he can destroy everything's billions of realities, finishing his last reality plan. And as I said, having more than one reality causes chaos. It's a mess. It is not an order but many orders, exactly like the sacred timeline in Marvel's Loki. Having too many multiverses causes chaos and ruins the perfect sacred timeline. The nothing came to this exact same conclusion and knows he needs to destroy all realities except one in order to reach his perfect order. A conclusion which Geno in his Imagine Order might reach too. Geno began having a white armor, being a king, but once he created the Imagine Order, he left being the king of the Oathbound, turning his suit also dark and black instead. Or how even at first the Imagine Order was built to protect people's homes, but now as Jon Jones says, it is turning into ruining other people's realities and homes. That's because the imagination of a perfect order is making Geno become just like the nothing himself, act like him. He is being corrupted into the monster itself. Geno is really close to finding the same conclusion as nothing. How if he wants to reach the perfection order, he also needs to destroy all billion realities, make only one. That would be when Geno becomes the monster himself. But don't worry, Maman has still got a really long far road to become fully corrupted. And not to mention his daughters, especially the Imagine, have slowly been saving him from the imagination of the perfect order. Geno wanted to make his daughters be perfect like him, but they proved Geno how whatever he did, they did not become as perfect as him, and failed to leave the loop being first. At that exact moment, Geno learned his mistake of taking his daughters' lives away, forcing them to be, well, Geno, making them do as he does. The sisters did not have a life nor any freedom, but this mistake made Geno feel bad, and so as he said, freeing his daughters so they can have an actual life finally. But Sally imagined her daughter chose not to build her own life, and instead hunt her past being stuck in what Geno forced her to become once more. Just like what Geno says here. Even then from here you can read how Geno still cared about the daughters even when they tried to kill him. That's because Geno knows what a messed up thing he has done to them, so he can't really blame his daughters for being pissed and rebuilding the Imagine just like he did to himself. Yeah, Geno saves Imagine, she does not die here, but now we're seeing from this how Geno is starting to care for something that is not perfect. He for once has stepped away from the imagination of a perfect order. This one is exactly why Geno will not be fully corrupted anymore. While we still have Geno on our side, the final hope to defeat the nothing is exactly thanks to this too. So hopefully the sisters manage to make Geno quit the idea of a perfect order saving their father. And also, this Geno becoming the Nothing could really well be why Foundation is so horrified of Geno nowadays. Why Foundation says that Geno is a threat even when he was being turned into pieces. The Everything or Singularity could have told Foundation what the fate of Geno will be, therefore also showing us why Geno's voice actor is actually the same as the Nothing's voice actor. These two are connected to each other. I'm planning to explain this connection in a future video cause it's crazy, it's really interesting, so that video coming up, make sure to subscribe.
Gather your squad by the tree. Share the spirit, open your gifts with glee.
Run the show, I'm the one who knows where's fun to go. I'm a humble soul but uncontrolled. If they wanna rumble, bro, thunder roll. Anything you need, I'll get that. Let me take the lead, don't sweat that. If you wanna eat, I'll chef that. Come and move your feet, I'll let that. Anything you need, I'll get that. Let me take the lead, don't sweat that. If you wanna eat, I'll chef that. Come and move your feet, I'll let that. We're running the scene, they're coming to me, but tell them bots that there's nothing to see. I bring the storm if they swarm, they'll be touching my team. We put the O right in front of the P. Come on down to the butter barn. Come on down to the butter barn.
We got buckets of bacon and stacks of jacks, jugs of maple, you can throw it on back. Kick it back in front of the fire, take a load off to your heart's desire. Got a cannon up front, one out back, we got home style cooking and that's a fact.
I'm sorry, I hate goodbyes.
If the rift gate fails, I fear my nightmares will devour my waking life. Name's Thunder. I'm a restaurateur, entrepreneur, party lizard.
Ooh, how about a roll called the Looper Log? The branding could be, it's the log Loopers love.
I officially declare my physical recovery complete. I'm a little creaky, but I've got a mission.